It is September 6th.
Ladies and gentlemen,
and
boys and girls, children of all ages, it is September 8th.
These are your
and we're
going to start off as we always do on a positive note. That's right.
1958.
These are your pro
One half
wrestling
of the faces of beer.
birthdays.
The Barbarian.
1948.
1961.
Watch out for that green
Legendary
mist.
Women's wrestler.
It's the Great
Wendy
Kabuki.
Richter.
1958.
1979.
One half
The always
of the
controversial
Batten Brothers tag team.
Low Key.
Brad Batten.
And last but not least,
1961.
1980.
One half
Whether
of
she's
the tag
known
team
for that
well
big
done
mole on her face
Timothy
or her
Well.
singing voice. It's
1964
Jillian Hall.
ECW legend.
Of course, on the flip side of that
Raven.
coin, your pro wrestling
1970,
deaths.
part of
September
Raven's
6th.
flock from WCW,
2003.
Lodi.
The Great.
1971,
2011.
former WCW
Little
World
Token.
Heavyweight Champion,
All
David
right,
Arquette.
enough of the sad stuff. It's time to get to the meat and potatoes.
And last but
That's
not
right.
least,
These are your pro wrestling
1978
history highlights for
former
September
TNA
6th.
Wrestling Women's
A
Champion.
short trip in the Wayback Machine
Rebel.
today as we start in 1972.
Of course, on the
where
flip
we
side
see
of
the
that
Sheik
coin,
defeat
your pro wrestling
Seiji
deaths
Sakagachi
for
in
September
Tokyo,
8th.
Japan to win the NWA United
1999
National Heavyweight title.
former
That belt is now
and
part
WCW
of the All Japan
referee,
Triple Crown.
Mark Curtis.
Grabbing my boombox and going to the
2014.
80s. 1981.
Former WCW
Ron
and
Bass defeats
WWF
Greg
wrestler
Valentine to win the
Sean
NWA
O'Hare.
television title in Asheville,
All
North Carolina.
right, enough of the sad stuff.
Ending
It's time to
Valentine's
get to
sport
the meat
in
and
final
potatoes.
run
That's right.
with that
These are your
belt.
pro wrestling history highlights for
Grabbing my
September
flannel
8th.
and going to the decade
Jumping
of
in the
grunge,
Wayback Machine and starting in
1993,
1950,
the Moondogs,
where we see
Spike
Vern
and
Gagne
Cujo
defeat Miguel
defeat the
Guzman
Dog
in
Catchers
Houston,
for the
Texas,
USWA
for the
Tag Team
NWA
titles and
Texas
Memphis
Heavyweight
Tennessee.
title.
Starting
Ending
Guzman's fifth
second
title
reign.
reign and beginning his second
Moving
run
to
to
with the belt.
1996. During a
Grooving
Friday
into
night
the
edition
60s,
of Raw,
1967,
Open
El
Tennis,
Mongol defeats
Jim
Mr.
Ross
Wrestling
for the NWA
Ross
Georgia
shocks
Heavyweight
and
title,
confuses
starting
fans
his
by
fourth run
saying that
with
Razor
the
Ramon
belt.
and Diesel
leaping
were
over
in
the
talks
70s
to
and going
return
to the
straight to the
WWF.
80s.
Kevin Nash and
1983,
Scott Hall working
Stan
for
Hansen
WCW
defeats Giant
deny
Baba
Ross's claim.
for the Pacific Wrestling
Ross would
Federation
repeat the statement
World
again
Heavyweight
on
title.
WWF shows,
Now part of
and
the All
would later
Japan
introduce
Triple Crown
the new
in
Diesel,
Chiba, Japan,
Len Jacobs,
ending
aka
Baba's
Kane,
third title
and the
reign.
new Razor, Rick Bogner, aka
Grabbing my
Big
flannel
Titan.
and going to the decade
Since
of grunge,
WWF did own the
1990.
names of
Kim
the characters
Duck,
of Diesel and Razor,
Tiger Chung
they
Lee
were within
defeats
their rights
Invader
to have
One
new wrestlers
for the
to portray
WWC
those
Caribbean
roles.
Heavyweight
However,
title in Puerto
the
Rico,
idea
ending
was not
Invader's
accepted
fifth
by the fans.
title reign.
And last but not
is
least,
September 7th.
1991.
And we're going to start
the
off as
National
we always
Wrestling
do on a
Alliance
positive note.
officially stripped
That's
Ric
right.
Flair
These
of the
are your pro
NWA
wrestling
World Heavyweight title.
birthdays.
2 days before Flair
1950,
makes his
Mexico
WWF
wrestling
in-ring
legend
debut.
Brazo de
World
Oro.
Championship Wrestling had stripped Flair of
1957.
their title back in July when
It's
Flair could not
Corporal
come to
Mike
terms with
Kirshner.
WCW for a new contract.
1958.
This
One
would
half
cause
of
the
the Batten
splintering
Brothers tag
of
team,
WCW
Bart
and
Batten.
the NWA title lineage.
1962.
The vacancy
Legendary
would not be
enhancement
filled until
talent,
June
George
1992, when Masahiro
And
Chono
last but not
defeated
least,
Rick Rude in the
1977
finals of that
Nora,
year's G1
Molly
Climax
Holly
tournament
Greenwald.
with the belt.
And
on
we're
the
going to
line.
keep that positivity train rolling.
Those were your super
That's
short,
right.
but
These
super
are your
sweet
pro wrestling history highlights for September 8th.
I'm
the eclectic gentleman
jumping in the Wayback Machine and going all the way to 1920.